Robert, thank you. Some news regarding Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara. ESPN baseball reporter Alden Gonzalez saying this: Ippei, Shohei's longtime interpreter and confidant, has been charged with bank fraud after it was discovered he transferred more than $16 million from Ohtani's account to an alleged illegal sports book, federal authorities announced in LA court. Here's U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada for more on the alleged crimes.
Let me summarize. Our investigation has revealed that due to the position of trust he occupied with Mr. Ohtani, Mr. Mizuhara had unique access to Mr. Ohtani's finances. Mr. Mizuhara used and abused that position of trust in order to take advantage of Mr. Ohtani. Mr. Mizuhara used and abused that position of trust in order to plunder Mr. Ohtani's bank account to the tune of over $16 million. And Mr. Mizuhara did all this to feed his insatiable appetite for illegal sports betting. In this way, we allege in the complaint, Mr. Mizuhara committed fraud on a massive scale. And let me note, what we filed today here is a complaint. Mr. Mizuhara is presumed to be innocent, but you can see all the allegations that we've made in the complaint that's been filed.
And MLB releasing this statement: we are aware of the charges filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office against Mr. Mizuhara for bank fraud. After a thorough federal investigation, according to that investigation, Shohei is considered a victim of fraud. There is no evidence that he authorized betting with an illegal bookmaker. And further, the investigation did not find any betting on baseball by Mr. Mizuhara. Given the information disclosed today and other information we've already collected, we will wait until resolution of the criminal proceeding to determine whether further investigation is warranted. As we say good morning to Joel Sherman. Wow. So the U.S. Attorney alleging Ippei stole $16 million from Shohei. The phrase is fraud on a massive scale. Your reaction?
So I think in the short term here, this is as well as it could go for Ohtani / baseball. The investigators said they did put massive manpower on this because they wanted to go quickly because it was a public figure. It's sports. There's questions about integrity. They went quickly. It was a federal investigation instead of an MLB investigation. I know every conspiracy theorist will come out. Like, do you believe MLB has control over the federal government? I would wonder about that. No, right? So it went quickly. Ohtani was exonerated in it. He was an innocent bystander in it, and there was no betting on baseball in general. It went well. My concern always, as I look at these things, it's not a baseball thing. These are going to be all sports as we move forward, and gambling becomes so mainstreamed in our sport. Is somebody like Ippei has access in a clubhouse. He's mimicked in every sport. Like, there's translators, there's clubhouse kids, there's traveling secretaries, there's the fifth assistant coach, the third hitting coach.
Just assume everybody's got a good heart.
And it worries me about the integrity of sports moving forward as gambling becomes so mainstream and so many people are involved.
Listen, for me to sit up here and speculate is foolish. There's an ongoing FBI investigation that needs to take place but Ohtani's done everything the right way. He's given over his phones. He's given over his computers. He's given over everything. So obviously, I mean, he's going out and performing on the field. I think you got to let the FBI investigation, and MLB's got their own investigation going. I think you got to let that breathe a little bit.
The timeline is interesting. As you said, we didn't know if it would be 6 days or 6 months' time, but you said they wanted to handle it quickly. Shohei, part of a Dodgers team that got much better in the offseason. You can say that again, $1.3 billion. Shohei and Glasnow, I mean, the headliner, right? But for every big ticket trade or transaction in the offseason, there are others that you have been thinking about. Who comes to mind?
So, like we saw big guys get traded. Soto got traded. You mentioned Glasnow, Cease.
Huge trades, more big trades.
Corbin Burns. I just wanted to do three ones. I wouldn't call them small because some of the names are all going to be prominent to some degree, but they're taking on resonance because of other people missing, right? If I were looking at it, Tyler O'Neill gets traded to Boston in December from the Cardinals. By the way, the Cardinals have some history trading away some outfielders who turned out to be big other places, Arozarena, Adolis Garcia. You look at O'Neill now with Trevor Story out. How important is his right-handed bat in that lineup. He's tied with Mike Trout, 6 homers. He leads the American League in OPS, so it like stands out for me. Boston went the other way. They traded a player, Chris Sale. We mentioned Glasnow. Atlanta was very much in on Glasnow. They were trying to get him. They talked early on about Nola. They weren't able to get it, and they thought to themselves, who's a guy who we think could help us in the regular season, but the stuff would certainly play in the postseason if we could get there again? Chris Sale. Vaughn Grissom hasn't yet. He's been hurt. He hasn't played for Boston. How much more important is Chris Sale now with Strider potentially missing some or the rest of the season? So, like, again, I'm thinking about people who are traded here. Jose Caballero. Right? That doesn't feel like a big trade.
Yeah.
We don't know, is Juan DeFranco ever playing for Tampa Bay again? If not, this guy only played 13 games at shortstop last year, but the Rays firmly believe that he can handle it. He's played very well on defense, sitting over 350. By the way, another small trade. They traded for Ben Rodford just before the season began. These are the only 2 guys hitting over like 270 on their team, are the 2 guys they traded for this offseason. Caballero's ability to play shortstop. Remember, Walls is out also after hip surgery, so they needed a shortstop, and he's played it very well.
At the time, who did you like the best of those?
I think the Anthopoulos going out and getting Chris Sale to be in his 4 slot and getting Boston to cover his salary by giving back Vaughn Grissom. Vaughn Grissom's been nicked up for them, obviously coming out of spring training, but if you weren't banking on Spencer Strider going down, and Sales can give you in his 4 slot what he's giving you.
I mean, it's early, but the stuff is played early.
I want to say something because it is brought up about the St. Louis Cardinals all the time with Arozarena.
It's not just that; it's pitching too.
Adolis Garcia.
Right?
A lot of people are trading Randy Arozarena when he videotapes Mike Schilt in the clubhouse. So a lot of guys want you out of the clubhouse at that point. They didn't know he's going to blow up into a 30-homer guy.
Sure.
So
it's a very good
little
point.
pass.
Okay. There's always storylines early, and I think this year it's been the injuries to starters, right? And we've seen relievers turn starters, and it worked. It's worked in years past. So do you think because of this rash of injuries, that's going to be a model that we're going to see more often in the future?
Well, I do think we're already this season. I would point out Houston. I'm really worried about them.
Yeah.
You know, do you just run out of pitching? You know, you saw it with, like, Hunter Brown had it.
He couldn't go get him.
He couldn't get him because he's used so much already. By the time you get to Verlander later in the season, maybe Garcia, McCullers, and Urquidy.
Yeah.
And so last year we saw it. Seth Lugo, who was mainly a reliever for the Mets, went into the rotation in San Diego, pitched really well, got 3 years at $45 million. Late last season, Zach Littell and Michael King went into the rotation. They were 2 of the better starters in the second half last season. King, therefore, ended up being a key guy in the Soto trade. Littell stayed in this. And, by the way, the Giants and the Braves went out and signed guys who were relief pitchers, Lopez and Hicks, to be starters. Look at this group so far this year. They're 7-0 with a 1.20 ERA as starting pitchers. They were relief pitchers not long ago. And I think, D-Row, if you got a guy in your bullpen who's got 3 pitches and maybe a pass in the minor leagues, a pass in the minor leagues where he started and he got dropped down to a reliever, and you think he can handle it both mentally and physically, I think that this shows you probably should try to do it.
You said if you can handle it both mentally and physically. That's my question as someone who didn't play in the league. Like, what do starters have that relievers don't, and
An
vice
extra
versa?
pitch.
They have the
3,
third pitch.
so 3.
That's why I'm saying there's
3 or 4.
There's relief pitchers.
Because if I see 1 or 2 all the time, 1 or 2
Yes.
all the time, and you see this in the postseason,
second
Alvarado
time,
shows
third
himself
time.
to Yordan Alvarez all the time, he's eventually going to get him.
That really was an entertaining game.
It really was, Robert.
Reese McGuire gets kicked out. The
When
Red
you
Sox,
can't get kicked
when
out.
you can't get, I mean, there was so
That was
much going on.
Quick. I wonder what he said right there. For that umpire to chuck
Yeah, me
that
too.
quick was a little ridiculous.
There was definitely some expletives, but that was a crazy, crazy scene. Look at the splits this season. In the first 6 innings, they're just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
All right. But then beyond, once you get to the 7th and beyond, they really start to lean on you. And D-Row, this lineup is deep. It is real deep.
It makes you realize it's a young man's game, but I think you got to have a little dirt in your cleats to win a World Series. But good God, Robert.
Yeah.
I mean, Colton Cowser's basically replaced Austin Hayes, who started in left field for the American League All-Star team. He gets off to a slow start. Colton jumps right in there and is blasting balls over the green monster. The list goes on and on of guys, like I was just saying to Lauren, if you're going into the team store today, whose jersey you buying?
Gunner.
I'm buying Gunners too, by the way.
He's tailor-made to play that position.
But you look around what they're going to be able to do, and Jackson Holliday's just the start. I mean, we saw Gunnar Henderson walk away with the Rookie of the Year last year. Here comes Jackson, but there's more on the back end of this. So a lot to like.
By the way, Kenley Jansen, 15 years. Been doing I was just on his baseball reference page.
I'll get into Boston a little bit here as well. Garrett Whitlock's thrown the ball good for them. Cutter Crawford's thrown the ball
Pitching's been
good
better
for
than
them.
maybe most people thought.
Pitching's been better, but the defense is a problem. And I think the domino effect of Trevor Story going down is Alex Cora's got his work cut out for him. But I'm going to start with the jersey that myself and Lauren would buy, because I agree with you. Between him and Bobby Witt, these might be my two favorite players in the entire sport. Let's get into Gunnar Henderson, because he does everything over the top well. We talk about tools out, wants to play a premium shortstop position. He makes this play look super easy, and he's got an absolute cannon for an arm. The reason I'm showing these easy defensive plays for Gunnar Henderson is, pause this real quick. Going down to spring training and having a chance to do some demos with the likes of Nolan Arenado and Francisco Lindor, and talking to Dansby Swanson. Coaches at home, especially youth coaches at home, a lot of these guys are doing a lot of their infield drills one-handed. What do I mean by that? They're making a lot of their moves. They're not doing the old fundamental funnel it to the belt, two shuffles. They almost feel like the analytics are telling them that 80 to 90% of the balls that they're fielding on a nightly basis, they're doing with one hand. So they want to do their drills with one hand. And what you're seeing is a lot of shortstops and third basemen almost play the ball into a one-handed kind of move. And I watched Gunnar Henderson. If you can run that back real quick, the defense, I mean, this is a play he could easily set up in front of and turns it into almost a one-handed. I'm sure he's working on drills like that. Two shuffle, sets his feet. This is opening day. Real quick, pause. This is opening day, bottom of the first. The Angels have already scored a run and gone up 1-0. The ability to know and how to read how to run bases. You don't need your third base coach if you know where the outfielders are playing and you trust your speed. There's about 2 or 3 guys in the league that go first to third on this ball. Run it. Adley Rutschman gets jammed. Little floater to right field. I mean, Gunnar, that's doing it with nobody out, but that's a great read. So he gives me base running as well, and he gives me pop for days. This is a right-handed pull hitter hitting that over, and he steps on it. He knows he's got this over the monster from the left side. So real quick, pause this, bring up the boards of his StatCast stuff. StatCast notes, 52.8 hard hit percentage since start of 2023. That's 10th in the league. He's got an absolute cannon, 90.2 miles an hour arm strength in 2023. That's 5th among infielders. And he's 6 StatCast runner runs since 2023, tied for the MLB lead with Bobby Witt Jr. So he brings all the tools to the table. And I'm telling you, I don't say this lightly, because the guy I'm going to comp him to is the guy who taught me more about the game, my dad, Rudy Jaramillo, and get into it. Chipper Jones is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best third basemen to ever do it. Came up as a shortstop, eventually moved over to third base. I don't know if that's the template for Gunnar. I know he wants to stay at short, but good Lord. Chipper had the ability to roast balls the other way like a right-handed pull hitter. He swung a 34.5-inch bat, 34 ounces, just an absolute log. And he dominated the whole southeast of the country for an extended period of time. So I see that in Gunnar Henderson. I just see an absolute star, and the game is going to slow down even more to him. He is a beast. Okay. Boston Red Sox got nothing but love for Alex Cora. Let's get into it. And there's been some bright spots. Tyler O'Neill, change of scenery, has been incredible. Jared Duran has been super at the top of the order. He's infectious. Whitlock's throwing the ball good. Cutter Crawford's throwing the ball good. But you're going to take on Baltimore in a 3-game set coming into Fenway. Your defense was porous at best in 2023. And every day you gave the Baltimore Orioles extra outs. every day. Pause this real quick. And I'm not here to pick on Tyler O'Neill because he's gotten off to a great start. But you have to let the game and the score dictate.
What do you mean?
What? 5-0 lead right here. We got how many out in this situation? There's no way. There's man on first. There's no way that Ryan Mountcastle's going first to third on this ball. So there's no reason for Tyler O'Neill to come through this like he's going to make a play at third base. Run it. Just set up and get the ball in. We're just giving extra bases for no reason in that spot. Now it's second and third, and now we're in trouble. Nobody out. It was all series long last night. Big spot. This changed the whole game. Routine play. You're in the right position.
Also a double play they couldn't turn.
Right here, Robert.
Yep.
This one's like mental to me because you've played shortstop your entire life. You know you have replay all over you. How do you not touch the bag in that situation? It's all led to Baltimore eventually winning this ball game. So Alex has got his work cut out. And I think we can put up the full screen. Outs above average since the start of 2023. I mean, it's by a mile. Wow. The Story injury is going to really have a domino effect because I think he covered up some of Devers' misgivings at third base.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there. So I want to see Alex piece this together. They got to play better D. Have to, period. Especially against the great teams. And I want to get into Colton Cowser again because he had just an absolute monster series. And he got off to a tough start. I want to look at this. He got off to a tough start last year when he came to the big leagues. He went 7 for 61 as one of their top prospects last year. Took it on the chin, came back to spring, had a monster spring, 6 bombs in spring training. He's behind Austin Hayes. He's behind potentially Cedric Mullins, Santander in the outfield, and he's saying, how do I get my ABs? I want to take you back. I don't think people realize in 2021, he was the 5th overall pick. Here he is on draft day, listening to Am Singer and Dan O'Dowd describe what they see.
So many comps to this guy. What do we think? Brandon Nimmo is one that I've heard some people say, including you. Dan O'Dowd, what do you think?
I think he looks like Brandon Nimmo. Profiles in left field. It's just all his mannerism, the way he hits. The power's a bit of a projection at this point in time. That's why I put him in a comp with Brandon Nimmo.
Sam Houston State came into Fenway. He's starting to feel pretty confident. Maybe he is Brandon Nimmo because he was going oppo and then he stomped on this ball in the top of the 10th. That's every stitch in Fenway. And I just want to show you a great swing. Pause this. This one's going to this is the pull homer. This is the opposite field homer. And we always talk about, in case he'll come out here, there's not 3 different swings. There's point of contact. There's the same swing. I'm here, it's going to right center. I'm here, it's center field. I'm here, it's pull side. Watch this. At the point of contact, please stop. Stop. Look at that. Basically the same swing. It's just point of contact, rhythm, and timing. This ball is destroyed to right center. Like I said, he's got the power to drive it oppo over the monster. So he had a series for the ages, and he's going to be in there. He's forcing Brandon Hyde's hand. Baltimore's good. Baltimore's really good.
And now it's Jackson Holliday and Jackson Churio, 2 20-year-old stars, the future of our game.
Athletic. Gunner's the dude.
He's a dude.
Wow.
The Red Sox gave up, what was the note, Nays? 16 unearned runs.
There is a speed bump on the front. There is a speed bump on the front.